Good afternoon, everyone. Now that practice is officially ended, glad to be here for what we feel is a interesting and nice announcement for 2016. I'd like to introduce the folks who are up here at the front. To my immediate right, co-owner Eddie Wood, Wood Brothers Racing, his brother Len Wood. To his right, the director of Ford Performance, Dave Parasak. To his right, member of the board of directors, Ford Motor Company, and the godfather of Ford Performance, Mr. Edsel Ford. And to his right, driver of the number 21 Motorcraft Fusion, Ryan Blaney. So with that, Eddie, I will open the floor to you and tell everyone why we're here today.
Well, I appreciate all you guys being in here when we showed up. We'd like to announce that we're going to run all 36 races next year. And these are the guys that made it happen, the Ford Motor Company. It's just, it's a lot of people have been working on this for a long time, and we're just really proud of our association and heritage with Ford Motor Company. We've been racing Ford Motor Company products for 65 years, and we're really looking forward to next year and getting started with that. We've got a young driver in Ryan Blaney and young crew chief Jeremy Bullins, and they were both rookies this year and have kind of got that out of the way. So we think we're ready to run full time next year.
Is it only appropriate that it was raining out there today?
Yeah, and it's raining out there. Yeah, we gotta get that going so we can race this weekend. But maybe next year with a full season, we won't have to worry about that. But I know a lot of you guys were in Phoenix last week and had to deal with it, and I felt for you. That rain's a bad deal at the racetrack.
And Len, this is the kind of thing where we're talking, I mean, it's been since 2009 you've been running that limited schedule. What makes this the right time now to get back to full-time racing in your eyes?
Well, I think in 2008 we stood here with Edsel Ford and Brian Wolf, who was the Ford director at the time. We talked about our performance was not where we wanted to be, and the suggestion was made to go limited schedule and get our performance back, and then try to get back full time. And we've done that as hard as we could the whole time. But I think this past year our performance has been where it needed to be, and I think we're ready to make a next step with, like I said, with Ryan Blaney, and Jeremy's our crew chief.
And Dave, Wood Brothers has been racing Ford products since 1950. Just what does it mean from your standpoint as the director to have them full-time next year?
Well, this is just an exciting day. I mean, to get them back on the track full-time is the way it should be. They've been our most loyal team for 65 years, and they deserve the right to come out every weekend and prove what they can do. And I think more than even deserve, they've earned it. They've run very strong this year, and as a result of that, we're committed to getting them out on the track full-time. So, through our efforts with Motorcraft and Quick Lane, we'll continue to leverage that, and we're hoping to be with them as they get their 100th Cup victory. So we're not too far away from that. Very, very exciting day.
Sitting on 98 as we speak, so 2 more to go as far as that goes. Mr. Ford, you were on the pit box in 2011 when Trevor Bayne won the Daytona 500 with these Wood Brothers. I know they're a very favorite team of yours. Just what are your thoughts as we enter 2016?
Well, I think Eddie made a good point. We've been talking about a full season for as long as I can remember, and I want to thank Ford Motor Company and Raj Nair, who's back there as well, Group Vice President of Worldwide Product Development for Ford Motor Company, for standing up and taking this on. It is something that Wood Brothers deserve. I think Dave's exactly right. They proved themselves. This is a historic team. And they've been part of our family for 65 years, and that's very important to me personally.
And Ryan, you get to be the man behind the wheel next year, so knowing that you're going to have 36 points races, and who knows, maybe a year from now, you're one of the final 4 competing for a championship. What's that going to be like for you next year?
Well, it's honestly, it's been a dream come true. Growing up in the garage with my dad racing, and seeing what he does or what he used to do when I was a kid, and now being able to be a part of a full season in the Cup Series and be with a couple great organizations like the Wood Brothers and Ford, it's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to next year. I can't thank these two enough, Edsel and Dave, and as Edsel said, Raj Nair in the back there. They made it happen, and I believe we've been pretty good this year, and that just gives us great momentum for next year. So I can't thank Motorcraft and the Quick Lane boys enough for doing what they do to make this car on the racetrack, and just really excited for it.
With that, we'll open it up for questions. Andrew and Kelly have the wireless mics. Come on up here with Kenny Bruce. We'll start with Kenny Bruce right up here in the front.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. For Lynn, Eddie, either one, how difficult was the decision after '08 to cut back, and how much of an undertaking is it going to be to get back to a full schedule?
Well, if you got time, I'll tell you the story how that played out. We were in Pocono, Pennsylvania, testing for the Pocono race, May 28th, '08. And about noon that day, Mr. Ford called me looking for a phone number. And I hadn't talked to him in a while, and he said, I hadn't heard from you in a while. Why haven't you called? And I said, we've been running so poorly. I've really been ashamed. And he made the statement, he said, so you're saying this 21 is broken? And I said, yeah, it's broken right now. And he said, okay, we're gonna see about that. We're gonna fix that. And from that day till now, it's been just like this. You know, he put some things in motion that started to, you know, got increased engineering and just more of everything. And had some, you know, some Ford Motor Company people actually came in and moved in with us and helped get us straightened out. And 3 years later, we win the Daytona 500. So, you know, you can never give up. And that's one thing, you know, about these, you know, this family that we have in Ford Motor Company. You know, I'd just like to thank, you know, Dave Parasak, Edsel Ford, Raj Nair. Our technical alliance with Team Penske is working really, really well. I'd like to thank the Roush Yates engine department and everyone at Ford, because this whole thing with us being able to go forward full time next year is a Ford Motor Company effort. It's not just one group; it's all Ford Motor Company. And you know, and as we go forward this year and beyond, we're going to be trying to bring in more partners to help make it all work, and you know, on the finance side, because it costs a lot of money to do this racing at this level. You just can't imagine. And you know, we're very fortunate to be hooked up with these guys. So I don't want to answer your question or not, but
Al Pierce, and then we'll come over to Mike Hembry.
Yeah, Al Pierce from Auto Week. For Lenny and Eddie both, your family has been racing since day one as a family. Your mother, your father, your uncles, your neighbors. What was the reaction up in Stewart when y'all let people know that you were going to go full-time again next year?
we didn't tell a lot of people.
There's only two that know, Mom and Daddy.
Yeah, they were all for it because, you know, when they're used to seeing their car, run every week. And, you know, when you don't see it every week, even, you know, if we don't race, a lot of times we're in Virginia with them, but it's just not right. We're supposed to be at the racetrack, and they realize that, and, you know, they're just as happy as we are.
Len's wife Nancy is aware of that too, because she's been on Facebook already posting stuff. So she's got that covered. Mike Hembry, and then we'll go to Louis Frank.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Eddie, does this mean you add 100 people? Do you get more Penske people involved, or how's that dynamic going to change?
We haven't really got that far yet. I mean, obviously we'll have to add more people, but the way our relationship with Team Penske is, it's pretty seamless. And it's really integrated and works really well. I told somebody the other day, you walk in the door over at Team Penske, and Lynn and I run into people that were working there when we were racing in the 70s that are still working there, and we're still friends with them, you know. And so it's just and it just feel like family with those guys. And so we'll get into all that later, but I don't see that going to be a problem at all.
Louis?
Louis Frank of Reuters, kind of a follow-up to Mike's question, and not that I'm applying, but what type of people will you need to add to go full-time?
I guess a lot of it will be just transportation people, because we're on one side of town. We're in the Harrisburg area, and Team Penske is up in Mooresville, so you can't get there from, there's no easy way to get there. You can't go through the lake. And, you know, it's just kind of, you can't get there from here, so you got to go around any way you go. But, you know, I would say transportation and just.
Yeah. For me personally, I'll be hiring somebody to mow my yard now.
Chris Knight.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Congratulations to the organization. For Ryan, what does it mean to you to step up to the plate and join Wood Brothers Racing in a full-time capacity and the opportunity to run for the Sprint Cup Championship?
Well, I said it before, you know, it's what you dream of as a kid. You know, ever since I started watching my dad at the racetrack and old enough to know kind of what NASCAR is all about, and ever since you start racing, you know, whether it's quarter midgets or whenever, that's the main goal, right? Is you want to go to be full time in the Sprint Cup level and have a chance to compete for a championship. And I've been fortunate enough to get great opportunities and meet great people. You know, being with Team Penske in 2012, which led to the Wood Brothers this year, and then, you know, beyond for next year. So it's obviously it's a little overwhelming right now of knowing what's going to come, but I'm excited for it. You know, I don't get really excited about a lot of things, and maybe I don't show it, but I'm really excited about this program for next year and just being given the opportunity. And like I said, it doesn't work without everyone involved at Ford and Wood Brothers and Team Penske, and it takes everyone working together, and I think that we have that, and I'm just looking forward to next season.
All right, here we go. Dustin Long. Here we go.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Dave, the question, I guess, would be, why is Ford putting the resources into something like this with a part-time team to make it go to full-time? When you look around at the Ford camp, and the argument can be made, there's a lot of work still to be done at Roush Fenway Racing. There's still probably more things to be done at Penske. Why is Ford making the effort in this case to elevate this team to a full-time with everything else that you've got going on?
Sure. Yeah, and there's no doubt we do have a lot going on, and we've talked about in the past that we are dedicated to this sport and improving our performance across the board. This is just another element of the total plan to do that. We have a belief in the Wood Brothers and in Team Penske and in Mr. Blaney over there, so it just makes sense that we do this. We've got people have been asking about resources. We have the resources. We are fully committed on all fronts to do this right and to run this as a full-time team. It's just one element of the plan to fix what's going on within all of our teams at Ford.
Jim Utter.
Jim Utter, motorsport.com. Ryan, kind of a follow-up to Chris's question. The work that you've been able to put together with Jeremy this season, do you feel it's kind of built a solid foundation on which the two of you can kind of grow and move into a full-time capacity in the Cup Series?
Yeah, being able to work with Jeremy Bullins has been great. I started working with him in 2012 when I signed with Penske, and he was on the Xfinity car, and he was on that car until last year. And then when we're lucky to bring him over to the Wood Brothers side and the Cup side. He does a great job. He's a great crew chief, and it's been really helpful to have some years and some races put in with him, both on the Xfinity side and the Cup side. You know, him and myself, I think we really get along well, and we have our own language. And I think, you know, this year was a perfect example of getting better throughout the year. And that's, whether that's communication between myself and him or cars getting better, it's great to work with a guy who's, you know, really hungry, and that's what Jeremy is. And I think that's just going to really benefit us for next year.
We've got time for one or two more before we have to let Ryan go. So let's go over here, and then we'll come to Lee Spencer.
Chris Green, SouthDayNewsLeader.com. This is for Len or Eddie. Talk about what it's been like to have Ryan in the car, and he's shown tremendous pace already in the limited schedule he's run this year. What's that been like for your team?
You know, with the limited experience that Ryan had in a Cup car, I think he had 2 starts last year was all. He jumped in our car and was just like he'd been doing it for, 5-10 years. His level of experience and know-how and his calmness and just the way he conducts himself, on and off the racetrack is like a guy that's, 30, 35 years old. He's 21. I know when I was 21, I didn't know whether I was coming or going, but he really does a great job in the car. He and Jeremy really fit each other. I think they, of course they ran, last year in the Mustang and won some races, and got to know each other. But you know, they're both just really dedicated, and you know, we really enjoyed it.
Lee?
SpencerMotorsport.com. I guess for Dave, are you still operating under the one Ford mentality? Is that kind of how you look at things going forward as far as pulling the groups together? I mean, obviously, you know, we've seen how strong Team Penske is. We've seen the effect it's had on the Wood brothers over the last year. You know, if they have the opportunity to race, it's, you know, probably much better off for Blaney, who's shown tremendous progress. But you know, do you look at the whole one Ford situation in an effort moving forward, and you know how you're going to bring things up to speed?
Yeah, Lee, I think, you know, when we talk about one Ford and what Ford Performance was all about, it was actually living and delivering that one Ford mentality. So the way that we handle everything now under Ford Performance is it's all in one place. We can leverage everything that goes on within Ford Performance to help everyone. And so our plan going forward as part of, you know, improving everyone's performance is continuing to bring people closer together, bring the teams closer together, leveraging what's happening on one team versus another, and together improving everyone's level of performance. So we're committed to doing that. I know everyone's anxious to see the results of that, and so are we, but I can assure you that we are 100% dedicated to raising the level across the board.
All right, everyone, thank you for giving us a few minutes here in the Media Center. And gentlemen, we're going to take a quick picture here before we let you guys go, okay?